Sam Turner stood at the edge of his cluttered kitchen, staring at an unopened bill submerged beneath last month's mail. A swell of worry twisted in his gut as he replayed the choices that had led him here, countless late nights spent scrolling through social media instead of picking up extra shifts at the hardware store, countless takeout meals that drained his savings, and a nagging belief that financial security was only meant for the lucky ones. In the heart of New York City, Sam, a bright-eyed 20-something, had big dreams, an innate drive pushed him, but every day, he found himself wrestling with uncertainty. Unlike his friends, who seemed to glide effortlessly into thriving careers and solid relationships, Sam felt lost at sea in a world that no longer seemed kind or forgiving. What troubled Sam most was his creeping self-doubt. He had grown up watching his parents work tirelessly but struggle to make ends meet. This inevitably shaped his mindset about money. To him, it was both a necessity and an enemy, something that teased him just out of reach. Every time he thought about his future, the shadows of his past clouded his vision, standing as daunting hurdles on his path to financial independence. Yet, hidden beneath his uncertainty was a flicker of something more, the unwavering desire to rewrite his story and transform from financially insecure to confidently prosperous. It motivated him to seek change, a path that promised not only the allure of better finances but also the possibility of reclaiming his self-worth. The challenge ahead loomed large, but a voice within him whispered that discovering the secrets of strategic thinking and building a strong work ethic could unlock the door to his dreams. Sam decided it was time to take action. With a newfound determination, he picked up a budget planner he had ordered online. As he flipped through the pages, his mind raced with questions. Where should he start? Which expenses were necessary, and which ones could he cut back on? He spent the next hour scribbling down everything he spent money on last month. As the list grew longer, his heart sank. How could he ever break the cycle of spending and start saving? Later that evening, Sam browsed the internet, searching for financial advice. He stumbled upon a popular podcast hosted by a financial expert named Lisa Grant, known for her relatable stories and practical tips. Her words struck a chord with him. Sam felt as if she was speaking directly to his struggles. "It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you save and invest in yourself," she said. He felt a spark of hope. Maybe it was possible to change his financial future. With excitement bubbling inside, Sam made a commitment to listen to a new episode every week. He even created a notebook where he could jot down helpful points and action steps. On his way home from work the next day, he reflected on what he had learned. Setting goals was just as vital as budgeting. Sam chose 5 clear financial goals he wanted to achieve over the next few months, from saving for a safety net to investing a small amount in stocks. As he wrote them down, a sense of purpose grew in his heart, but getting started wasn't easy. Every time he tried to stick to his budget or save a little money, it felt like something would pull him back. His friends would text him about their plans for going out, and the flicker of FOMO, the fear of missing out, was hard to ignore. Each temptation felt like a test of his discipline. One Friday night, when his friends planned a celebratory dinner, Sam hesitated. After a moment of deep thought, he chose to stay home and save his money instead. The decision left him feeling both relieved and lonely. Was this what it took to change? Was being responsible worth missing out on good times? More than once, skepticism from those around him crept in. "You're cutting back again, Sam," his roommate sometimes teased. "Life is short. You should live a little." While some mockery might have been said in jest, Sam felt the twinge of irritation. Were they so unaware of the looming financial struggles that haunted his thoughts? Each night, his doubts whispered ominously in his ear. Could he really change, or was he just a dreamer stuck in his reality? Despite this pressure and confusion, he always returned to the hopeful words from the podcast. In a sense, they were like a safety net, catching him as he waded into the unknown. To solidify his skills in budgeting and to reinforce his new habits, Sam began using a budgeting app to track his expenses. As soon as he did, the numbers blurred into a daunting array that made his head spin. Every week, watching his savings grow little by little filled him with newfound excitement. Yet, despite his urge for discipline, he often found himself overwhelmed. Was he saving enough? Was his job bringing in enough to achieve his goals? The path seemed tortuous, and the challenges thickened along the way. Just when he thought he understood budgeting, thoughts of investment struck him. He had read books that demystified the stock market, but each explanation felt like a code he had yet to crack. The world of finance appeared vast and unforgiving, further amplifying his self-doubt. Deep down, he knew that every journey had its struggles. But even through the whirlwinds of skepticism, temptation, and anxiety that clouded his mind, a brighter thought emerged. He was staring down the tips of change, gathering the tools to carve a better path ahead. Sam lifted his pencil, ready to take the next step on this uncertain journey. Sooner or later, he believed, clarity would be within his grasp. One sunny Tuesday afternoon, a significant opportunity knocked on Sam's door. While sipping his usual cup of coffee at the cafe along the sidewalk, he noticed a small community notice pinned to the wall. A local entrepreneur was seeking investors for a new coffee shop concept that provided ethically sourced brews and a cozy atmosphere for people to meet. His heart raced as he read the details. Could this be the chance he had been waiting for? The idea of investing in something new lit a spark of excitement in him, yet the fear of stepping outside his comfort zone dampened the flame. Sam spent the rest of the day thinking about the coffee shop. The numbers danced in his mind. If he pulled together his modest savings, he could potentially be part of this venture. The chance to make money while supporting a business in his community thrilled him. But another part of him pulled back, whispering caution. Investing felt risky, especially since he was still learning about financial decisions. That evening, Sam replayed his thoughts as he sat at the kitchen table, papers spread out in front of him. He took out his trusty budgeting notebook. Risk and reward swirled around his mind as he felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. What if I lose everything, he debated with himself. Yet, contentment nudged him as he considered the possibility of success. What if this truly pays off, he thought. The duality of fear and ambition danced within him, showcasing the tightrope he had to walk. His mind turned to what he'd learned from the podcast: evaluating risks wisely can lead to substantial gains. Sam scribbled down questions to help him analyze this opportunity. How much do I need to invest? What are the risks if the coffee shop fails? How much can I earn in the best-case scenario? There was a thrill in outlining his thoughts, a sign that he was growing more confident in his financial skills. Sam reached for his laptop and began researching the coffee shop owner online. He uncovered details about the owner's previous ventures, which had all been well received in the community. There was something reassuring about the background he discovered. This owner had already shown a knack for success. He considered reaching out for a meeting to discuss his investment ideas and clarify any lingering doubts. Each moment of deliberation evoked a mix of excitement and anxiety in him. The following day, Sam mustered the courage to send an email. Hello. My name is Sam, and I am interested in discussing the investment opportunity for your coffee shop, he typed, heart pounding with each keystroke. After hitting send, he felt as if he had just jumped off a cliff. Would he find his wings? The thought lingered in his mind as he waited, although he was fully aware of the uncertainty that lay ahead. As the days passed, Sam explored the advice he had collected on investing. He recalled the crucial concept of diversification, reminding himself that investing in opportunities didn't mean staking everything he owned. He could invest a small portion of his savings, keeping the rest for emergencies. Stepping into the realm of financial literacy felt empowering, but it also revealed the weight of his choices more profoundly than before. When the response from the coffee shop owner finally landed in his inbox, curiosity bubbled within him. They arranged to meet that weekend. What if this meeting became a turning point for him, leaving behind all hesitations? Or what if he found it wasn't the right fit? There were so many potential outcomes swirling in his thoughts. Calm breath anchored him momentarily. Growth never comes without moments of risk. As the weekend approached, Sam's anticipation turned into a quiet excitement. Each step forward, a new budgeting habit and the prospect of a small investment, filled him with belief. Even if things didn't unfold as planned, he had begun to carve a new path, and that in itself was a win worth celebrating. The adventure of financial empowerment was blooming, and Sam wanted to see where it would lead him next. The day Sam had been looking forward to finally arrived, yet it did not unfold as he had imagined. A week after meeting with the coffee shop owner, he received the call that left his heart sinking. "I'm sorry, Sam. We're going to have to put the project on hold," the owner said, trying to sound hopeful. "The contractor backed out, and we're delay funding now." Those words crashed down around Sam like a heavy weight, suffocating his dreams. All at once, the glittering prospect of investment dimmed under the harsh reality of uncertainty. After hanging up the phone, Sam felt a wave of despair wash over him. His enthusiasm was replaced by doubt, and a familiar feeling began to creep back into his mind. The voice of his old fears resurfaced, insisting that maybe he wasn't meant for this after all. He thought about the money he'd saved and the hopes he had pinned on this venture. What if this was just another grand idea that fizzled out? What if he made all the wrong decisions and lost everything? Days turned into a blur of confusion and tension. On one hand, he was eager to learn from setbacks and persist despite obstacles. On the other, self-doubt gnawed at him, taunting him to retreat to the comfort of complacency. He found himself staring blankly at his budgeting notebook, where so many empowering ideas had flowed just a week before. The numbers no longer sparked excitement, instead, they felt like chains binding him to a reality he feared. As the reality of the situation sank deeper, Sam resumed some old habits he had tried to shake off. He started resenting his budgeting app and avoided checking his expenses. Conversations with friends became awkward, especially when they casually discussed their successes. Deep inside, he wondered if those wins were only meant for others. Meanwhile, the looming question pressed relentlessly on him: should he hold on to his dreams or cut his losses and stay safe? Yet, despite this swirl of negativity, a small part of Sam clung to the tools he had learned over the last few weeks. As he lay in bed, he recalled the strategies he had considered when first tackling financial literacy. "Setbacks are a part of any journey," his podcast host had said. "What you do next matters more than the obstacle itself." In that quiet moment of reflection, he realized this challenge was a critical test of his determination and growth. The very next day, Sam decided to channel his energy into concrete actions rather than surrender to anxiety. He reached for his notebook and made a list of questions he needed to answer. How can he adapt? What can he learn from this experience? Would investing a smaller amount in another opportunity give him more safety? Despite feeling heavy with uncertainty, a flicker of resolve began to ignite in him. Sam reminded himself that staying disciplined meant pushing through difficult times. He logged into an investment forum where he had often gathered insights. As he summarized his situation, others chimed in with understanding. It lifted some weight off his shoulders. "Stick to your strategy," one comment read. "Every setback teaches you something new." Sam found comfort in those words, a hopeful reminder that this obstacle was a small chapter in a much larger story. With each passing day, he fought through the haze of worry. While he couldn't change the situation overnight, he could still take steps forward. Sam began researching other local businesses in need of funding or unique products he believed in. This proactive approach helped him reclaim a sense of control. Even if the coffee shop opportunity dissolved, it didn't mean everything was lost. As he stood in front of the mirror that evening, Sam took a deep breath. He was in the middle of a storm, but storms never last forever. It was time to sharpen his strategy, trust his instincts, and let resilience take the lead. The internal battle within him felt fierce, but he knew he had come too far to turn back now. The road ahead might twist and turn, but he was determined to navigate through the darkness, seeking the light on the other side. Sam's heart raced as he looked over his investment options one more time. After days of wrestling with his fears and doubts, he found himself at a crossroads. The coffee shop opportunity was gone, and with it, the simple path he thought he would take. Now, he stood facing a decision that would either solidify his growth or send him spiraling back into the comfort of his old habits. Each potential investment danced in his mind like shadows. There was a local farmer who wanted to expand his organic vegetable delivery service. That idea sparked something in Sam. He loved supporting local food sources. However, the investment was bigger than he had originally planned. His savings were limited, and the risk of losing that money froze him in place. Thoughts of failure haunted him. What if the service flopped? What if he lost the little money he had fought so hard to save? With anxiety bubbling in his chest, Sam pulled out his budgeting notebook. He had been diligent about tracking every dollar, assigning them specific roles as he strived for security. The thought of straying from his budget felt like a betrayal of his progress. This moment felt monumental, like standing before a large, unforgiving door. Was he ready to push it open, or would he let fear shackle him? He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. On one side lay the temptation to stick to his old habits, safe, comfortable but stagnant, just like a withered potted plant. On the other side was the alluring promise of growth and possibility. What if this is the breakthrough I've been waiting for, he thought. However, it was easier to entertain that idea rather than confront the work needed to make it happen. Late into the night, Sam continued to weigh the options before him. He grabbed his phone and opened the investment app on his computer. Evaluating the farmer's business plan brought a mixed sense of hope and anxiety. Each number on the screen echoed potential. The service could unlock opportunities for fresh, healthier food choices in the community. Still, the idea of pouring his money, hard-earned money, into something uncertain felt daunting. He recalled the countless hours he spent absorbing financial wisdom from podcasts and books. They all spoke about the importance of taking calculated risks. Each time he had a fear creeping into his mind, another voice emerged, encouraging him to think long-term. Do not shy away from opportunity, he recalled Lisa Grant saying, real growth often lies on the path through discomfort. Suddenly, clarity washed over him. All his efforts, lessons, and painful setbacks had brought him to this moment. The decision was more than about just money, it was about believing in himself and allowing those lessons to guide him. With sweaty palms and firm determination, he began creating a pros and cons list. He considered the farmer's commitment to ethical sourcing, a value resonant in his own heart. That commitment painted a hopeful picture of impact and community care. As Sam turned the page in his notebook, his writing became swift, fueled by purpose. Only a small portion of his savings would be dedicated to this venture, reaching for a balance that wouldn't strip away his security. What's the worst that can happen, he noted, his pen scrawling down the possibilities. Knowing he could learn from this commitment, no matter the outcome, shifted something within him. He took a deep breath, feeling solid in his reasoning. The time had finally come to embrace potential rather than let fear dictate his journey. Sam stood before the door once more, poised to push it wide open. He knew it would lead him into the heart of the unknown, but he realized now that uncertainty was not his enemy. It was a turning point. With his new mindset guiding him, the promising light of change shone brightly ahead, urging him on toward a future replete with potential. Moving forward was better than retreating, and he was ready to embrace that challenge no matter where the path would bend. With a sense of purpose igniting his spirit, Sam took the plunge and decided to invest a portion of his savings into the farmer's vegetable delivery service. He reached out to the owner, expressing his interest and setting up a meeting. When they met, Sam felt a little nervous, but he also felt strong. This was not just an investment, it was a chance to be part of something bigger that aligned with his values. During their conversation, the farmer shared his vision, discussing the growing demand for local and organic produce. Every word painted a vivid picture that lit a fire in Sam's heart. He listened attentively, taking notes as the farmer outlined his plans for the business. The thoughtful strategy spoke to Sam's emerging confidence. This wasn't a whim, it was a calculated risk worth taking. Sam left the meeting with a newfound clarity. This was not merely a financial transaction, but a choice to invest in his community and encourage sustainable living. After reflecting on their discussion, Sam decided on a modest investment amount that kept his emergency savings intact. By doing so, he still had a safety net. Rekindled by hopeful energy, he penned a simple, but promising contract that clearly detailed expectations from both parties. Once he made the investment official, Sam felt a rush of mixed emotions. Part of him was excited, but another voice whispered doubts from the shadows. What if it didn't work out? However, unlike before, he recognized these fears as just noise. He remembered his journey thus far, the lessons he had worked hard to learn. He had transformed from feeling lost to becoming a strategic thinker, willing to embrace challenges rather than let them control him. This change brought with it a measure of excitement. Weeks passed, and during that time, Sam kept his fingers crossed, waiting to see how things would unfold. The business officially launched, and, to Sam's delight, the initial weeks were a success. Customers poured in, appreciating the farmer's fresh, flavorful produce and the convenience of delivery. With each passing day, Sam's investment began to grow steadily, reflecting his belief in the venture and in the farmer's passion. Still, there were moments of worry. One day, he overheard a conversation at the local cafe. Not everyone was quite as thrilled with the service. Some customers felt the delivery fees were too high, and others spread mixed reviews. Sam felt his stomach drop again, a wave of doubt crashing over him. Old fears began to resurface. Was he at risk of losing everything again? But he paused and remembered to lean into his learning. He sought clarity rather than panic. Instead of allowing anxiety to win, he chose action. Sam reached out to the farmer, sharing his concerns and suggesting ways to engage more customers through limited discounts and promotional offers. They brainstormed together, focusing on building relationships with clients and enhancing their online presence to draw more people in. This proactive approach reflected how much he had grown. He wasn't just passively waiting for success. He had become an active participant in his financial journey. In the following months, their teamwork transformed the business. Client relationships strengthened, and a sense of community began to grow. As profits began to rise and visibility improved, Sam felt a swell of pride. He realized that he wasn't just reaping financial benefits, he was helping make a difference in people's lives by bringing healthy food options closer to his community. Sam looked back over his journey, savoring how his mindset had changed. Gone were the days of letting fear define him. He had learned to make decisions based on strategy and sound advice rather than emotion. This shift in thinking and approach to wealth had opened doors he never thought possible. Even without knowing the future, he felt grounded and confident about this newfound path. Sam didn't just invest in a business, he invested in a growth journey that would reshape his life and mindset forever. As the weeks faded into months, Sam found himself entrenched in a whirlwind of growth, both personally and financially. The vegetable delivery service soared beyond expectations, and his investment started flourishing. The surge in demand reshaped his perspective on financial success. Success felt different, deeper than simply gaining money. It was about being part of a fulfilling community that valued health and sustainability. During a weekend harvest event hosted by the farmer, Sam witnessed customers cheering as they received their fresh produce. Families thanked him for their investment, sharing how it had encouraged them to eat healthier. This sense of connection ignited something profound within him. Wealth was not solely about dollars and cents, but rather about enriching lives. The fulfillment he felt eclipsed the financial gains. He experienced pride in nurturing something that fostered well-being for many. Encouraged by these new insights, Sam began to refine his strategies. This time, he focused on consistent growth, sitting down every month to review both his investments and personal finances. He found value in tracking his expenses and creating savings goals. No longer did he feel overwhelmed, instead, he embraced budgeting as an empowering practice. Sam formulated a clear vision for financial health, one based on thoughtful planning and hard work rather than reckless spending or letting desires rule him. As he implemented these ideas, Sam became curious about diversifying further. He started looking into other local businesses that emphasized community values. Investing in a sustainable cafe or a craft brewery seemed appealing. His research skills grew, and he often found himself attending local entrepreneur workshops to gain insights and network with like-minded individuals. The transformation in his mindset was staggering. He was evolving from a hesitant dreamer into a confident participant in his financial future. Every investment and decision, both good and bad, had nurtured a deeper understanding of wealth. He recalled moments of doubt and discomfort but learned how essential they proved in forging resilience. The choices he once feared now filled him with wisdom. Making a mistake didn't feel like a failure but rather an essential part of the journey toward growth. Reflecting one quiet evening, Sam pondered over his old self and the mindset that had once held him back. He realized how perceptions of success had shifted dramatically. Wealth wasn't about flashy cars or extravagant lifestyles but about stability, meaningful connections, and making choices aligned with personal values. The days of feeling trapped in financial worry began to fade into his past. This new clear vision of success allowed him to inhale freedom, no longer bound by anxiety. Nonetheless, Sam also knew the importance of staying grounded. Keeping a humble spirit amidst newfound achievements proved crucial. He made it a habit to lend his financial knowledge to friends who sought it, sharing tips on budgeting and investing for their futures. This sharing unlocked another layer of satisfaction for him. Helping others chase down their ambitions made him feel even more fulfilled. For Sam, change no longer felt daunting, it felt invigorating instead. The lessons ahead seemed promising, and the more he engaged with these principles, the stronger his foundation became. When setbacks arose, he faced them head-on with a newfound sense of control. Armed with knowledge, Sam no longer feared failure. Instead, he welcomed it as a signpost guiding him further along his path to financial empowerment. With determination fueling him, Sam embraced the unknown future with open arms. The words of his former self echoed softly in the background, replaced gradually by new dreams, dreams not just about money but about building a life marked by purpose, contribution, and vibrant community connections. The transformation journey felt refreshing, still unfolding like a bright tapestry woven from the threads of lessons learned. Just when Sam thought life was settling into a comfortable rhythm, an unexpected challenge emerged. The farmer he had invested in called one afternoon with news that the region had suddenly faced a severe drought. Crop yields were dwindling, and customer orders began to falter. Instant concern gripped Sam's heart, but instead of responding with panic, he felt a spark of clarity, a lesson learned from his past experiences. Rather than viewing this situation as a setback, Sam embraced it as an opportunity to apply everything he had learned. He scheduled a meeting with the farmer to discuss the situation openly. When they sat down together, Sam exuded confidence, ready to strategize. He listened attentively as the farmer outlined his plans to water-efficient farming methods and diversifying into different crops that would thrive under these conditions. Their discussion led to brainstorming solutions. With enthusiastic determination, Sam suggested introducing a subscription model that would provide a steady income during uncertain periods. Customers could sign up for a monthly delivery of a mixed basket containing whatever produce was available, ensuring they remained engaged even when specific products were lacking. The idea felt new but safe, a shared risk that would engage their loyal customer base while providing financial support during tough times. As they fleshed out their plan, Sam felt a familiar surge of pride. The old hesitations that once held him back were now replaced by the logical, strategic mindset he had cultivated. This moment of clarity marked a stark contrast to his previous approach. Instead of stewing in doubt, he had chosen proactive engagement. Both he and the farmer felt invigorated, teamwork and creativity gave them newfound hope. In the subsequent weeks, as they rolled out the subscription service, Sam actively promoted it through social media and local events. He quickly became a community advocate, channeling his experiences to rally support. Conversations flowed naturally as he shared his unwavering belief in the farmer's vision. At the same time, he strengthened his relationship with the customers, demonstrating that every challenge could pivot towards growth. The subscription service quickly gained traction, and as orders began to pour in, Sam relished another victory. He and the farmer became not just businessmen but collaborators working together towards sustainability and resilience. Watching their hard work pay off reminded Sam of his growth journey, and each success etched deeper appreciation for the financial principles he had embraced. Eager to help others navigate similar paths, he reached out to his close friends who had expressed interest in their financial journeys. Sam organized informal gatherings where he shared lessons learned, from budget management to strategic investments. The conversations became lively, filled with laughter and learning as his friends explored their financial goals alongside actionable steps. Different lives began to intertwine, illuminated by hope and a desire to achieve greater stability. In these interactions, he sensed another layer to his transformation: mentorship. As he presented the principles guiding his success, he reveled in guiding others toward their financial understanding. The feeling of empowerment coursed through him, the ripple effects of his decisions extended beyond just himself, they impacted friends, their families, and the community. Emboldened by these experiences, Sam began a small blog where he documented his journey and shared insights about personal finance. With each post, he integrated stories and practical advice that had sparked his growth, aiming to demystify finance for those who felt lost as he once had. His online presence emphasized that anyone could embrace financial literacy, enabling them to navigate life with confidence. The initial challenge had proven to be not just a hardship but a teacher, a catalyst that solidified the principles Sam had embraced and watched them flourish into actionable wisdom. He no longer saw setbacks as obstacles but as opportunities to leverage his learning further. Sam now stood firmly rooted in a mindset dedicated not merely to financial outlooks but rather to broader, meaningful connections, winding threads woven intricately around wealth, choices, and relationships built upon trust and knowledge. Through the ongoing challenges and triumphs, he learned that this was only the beginning. His ambitions extended beyond personal growth. Now, more than ever, he understood his potential to influence others positively, merging personal insight with outreach and community. He saw the horizon brimming with possibilities in sustenance, empowerment, and lasting change to create a more uplifting financial landscape for all involved. As the months rolled by, Sam continued to build upon his newfound insights and confidence. The subscription service for the vegetable delivery was thriving, and he found that not only did it bolster the farmer's business but also his own financial independence. Now, he could save even more, investing not just for himself but also for future opportunities that aligned with his values. He felt a sense of security that was unfamiliar yet comforting, the kind that stemmed from disciplined effort and smart decision-making. Renewed motivation filled him each morning as he approached his day with structure and purpose. Sam established a routine that included setting aside time for budgeting. He compared his monthly expenses against his savings and investments, fine-tuning his approach wherever needed. With practice came mastery. He realized that small adjustments led to significant outcomes over time, a principle he embraced wholeheartedly. Excitement swirled within him knowing he was laying a foundation not just for himself but also for the life he envisioned. No longer did he dwell in the shadows of self-doubt. When challenges arose, they felt smaller, manageable like stepping stones rather than insurmountable mountains. His mindset embraced logical reasoning aimed at positive outcomes, rather than built on fear and anxiety. He honed the ability to analyze not just situations in his financial life, but also the decisions that came with everyday responsibilities. Armed with knowledge from podcasts, books, and real-life experiences, he tackled each dilemma with a steady resolve. Friends and acquaintances who once watched curiously now sought out Sam for advice. He found joy in sharing what he had learned. It enabled him to reinforce his own understanding while helping others escape the financial binds that held them back. He initiated casual workshops at a community center, creating an inviting space for others to learn about budgeting, wise investments, and the importance of setting financial goals. They gathered, sharing stories, triumphs, and stumbling blocks, leaving inspired to take action in their own lives. Through these interactions, Sam realized that true financial success wasn't merely a matter of accumulating wealth. It was about building a life fueled by meaningful relationships, nurturing community connections, and showing integrity in decision-making. He came to appreciate that financial freedom offered him more than just money. It provided him with the capacity to make choices that aligns with his values, allowing him to live authentically and with purpose. Over time, Sam solidified his vision for prosperity. Along with his investments, he pursued passions he had long overlooked. He enrolled in a cooking class, driven by his love for food and healthy living. He used his talents to create meals at community events, sharing knowledge on eating well. This newfound creativity allowed him to foster deeper connections while reinforcing a sense of fulfillment. Each night, as Sam reflected on his journey, he wrote down his most valuable insights in a dedicated notebook. He made it a practice to pen down what true financial success meant to him: freedom, fulfillment, and a commitment to growth. A recurring thought echoed in his writings: success was not a solid endpoint but an ever-evolving journey. It would be marked not by how much money he had but by the legacy of his choices and the support he offered to others. As he flipped through the pages filled with thoughts and outcomes, he recognized the importance of resilience and continuous improvement. He understood that everyone would face challenges, but it is how one navigates those challenges that defines the journey ahead. Sam felt grateful for the lessons life had handed him. This ongoing evolution bore a central message: financial literacy could act as a powerful toolkit for anyone willing to learn and embrace. Sam hoped that through his story and outreach, he could inspire others to harness their skills and navigate their paths toward a brighter, more prosperous future. By mastering their financial health, they would not merely seek wealth, but instead build a life of purpose, connections, and personal satisfaction that truly defines success.